Hi, I'm going to show you how to use the ReadWriteThink timeline app. Hopefully technology will work for me. So in just a second, I'm going to screenshot. All right, so here you have the nice little home page for the timeline app. Start here down at the bottom, and I'm just going to type in my name, and the project title is going to be Sample Timeline. When you click Start, this is what you see. Obviously, it's a really user-friendly app. There's a lot of directions all over the thing, all over the screen. So to get started, click to tap the timeline to add an item. The label should be something relatively short. You don't want to have anything really long because otherwise your timeline is going to get really crowded really quickly. The short description is short. So anything longer than a sentence, and again, your timeline's going to get crowded and cramped. So for me, since I'm actually going to do a timeline, I'm just going to enter in a date. So there we go. Down here on the full description, as you can see over here on the right, you get the preview, and this box is what's going to actually appear on the timeline screen once I close out of this. The full description, as you can see, appears on the printout only. So on this description, whoops. This is on the full description box is where you can be as detailed as you want it to be. To my knowledge, from what I've used it for, there isn't really a text limit. There's another thing you can do too. So you could, in the full description, you can kind of be as long and verbose as you would like to be, and detailed as you need to be. The other thing that you can do is you have an option to choose an image. Be careful when you use an image, because importing an image will make this event on your timeline that much, again, more crowded, less space. For the activity that you're going to be doing now, don't worry about doing an image, so I'm not even going to spend time explaining how to choose an image or how to use an image. So when you've finished filling out label, the short and the full description, click the little check mark saying that you're done, and then you have this nice little line that you can drag and move and place wherever you would like. If you don't like what you entered, drag it over to the trash. The trash can opens up, and when you click to drop it in, it'll disappear. So be careful, because I've had people accidentally put it in there, and then they have to go back and add the entire thing again. So I kind of want to be creative and be a little slanted this morning. So it's really simple. You just click and drop. If you notice that you are going to have a lot of events in a specific area, event number 2, so this is going to be 2/1/16, just to kind of show you how it works. If you notice that these events are possibly overlapping, or if you need to move things and you need to shift it back, you can just click on this little circle and drag it along the timeline. The circle will not leave the actual timeline itself, because you're creating a timeline. But you can move the circle, and you can move the click and drag the blue box to wherever it is you want to go. So if you kind of want to do this alternating pattern, you can. Keep in mind that the more events that you have, the more crowded that the timeline is going to get. If you don't have many events to add on, then you can spread out your events. So let me go back into event number 2. And I'm going to show you, just enter in a few entries to show you what the finished product looks like. If you're not done working on your actual timeline and you'd like to save and come back, go to this save option, and again, kind of really nice and walks you through. Save your file on a computer or storage device to work on later. So when you click, and this is your sample, so you can name it whatever you want. Test timeline. And then when you click save, make sure you click save. If you're saving it to your Chromebook and you're just saving it as a file, you can actually save it in your downloads folder in your Google Drive, so you can access it later. It'll save as what's called an RWT file, and that's just short for Read, Write, and Think. You can only use this file with this app, so you won't be able to open it up anywhere else. If you hope to save it and then open it up in Word and then add to it, it won't work. So the only way you can use this file is if you're using the timeline application. So it's going to save to your downloads, so I'm going to save it. Confirmation saying that it has been saved, so make sure you get this message, otherwise it hasn't successfully saved. If you're saving it to a flash drive, I'll show you how that works again too. If you're saving it to a flash drive, it'll pop up as a location, so you can save it to your Google Drive in a very specific folder. If you have a specific folder you want to put it in, you can save it to your downloads folder, or if you have an external drive or USB junk drive, that will pop up here, and you can click on that option and save it directly to that USB port. So let me cancel out of this. So say I'm done. So I've showed you how to save it. So say that I'm done and I actually want to take the final product and send it to my teacher. So I come down to finish. Now here on this screen, you're going to see what a printed version of your timeline would look like. So if I were to print out a hard copy of my timeline, this is the actual timeline, but you still don't see those descriptions of how this was my my favorite month and how this was the start of a new year. So if you're wondering where those went, come down here to these arrows and you can go to the second page. So when you print it out, there are your actual descriptions. So no matter how many events that you have, the descriptions will be there. The only problem is that if you notice, there's no dates on this portion. So you see the event title, but you don't see the date. You see the event title, but you don't see the date. If you go back the page, there's your date. So that's my only little annoyance with this app, but for all intents and purposes, it does its job nicely. But this is the actual, that's the timeline, that's the description, and if you print it out, this is exactly what you would get when you printed it out. So again, if you come over to the right, you again have 4 different options. You can save it as a draft, which is pretty much doing the exact same thing that I just showed you a minute or so ago. It will save an RWT file. If you want to save a draft, and again, you're still working on it, it's not completed, you're going to come back and you're going to open it up later. Save it as an RWT file. If you want to save the final, so you like the way that this all looks and everything's in the right spot and you don't have any problems or issues with any of the descriptions that you may have, you save the final. So now if you notice when you click Save the Final, notice again, it won't let you make changes later, but you can view it and share it with others, so that when you're saving, make sure you're saving it the right way. And if you notice, it will save this time as a PDF file. So I want to save this as final test timeline. So I'm going to save as a PDF. And again, I'm going to have this nice little pop-up screen, and it's going to ask me, where do I want to save this? Do I want to save it to a specific folder in my Google Drive? Do I want to save it to my download folder? Do I want to save it to a USB port? But if you come down here, it's saving as a PDF, and that's the one that you want. So I'm going to go to my Google Drive, and I'm going to go to teacher and you won't necessarily have all of these. So I'm going to save it to my Cold War folder. So again, I clicked save, and I get this confirmation saying that it has been saved. Okay, good. Couple other things you have the options of doing. If you open up this file on, well, I'm jumping ahead. So sending the final. So again, you like the way that it looks, and you don't have any problems. You can go ahead and send the file. Name it again, final test timeline, and then right here you can actually address or input the email of the person you want to send it to. Now keep in mind, this is sending your final. If you want to share your rough draft or your work in progress, you would have to, I can show you how to do that, but you'd have to actually attach the file to an email different ways. You can't send a draft through this app. So let's say, all right, so I'm done, this is my final, and I'm going to actually send it directly to my teacher. So I type in her email, name it, and then I click send. It's hopefully going to work. And again, so file's been sent. Now if I sent it to myself, this next part is really for what that's for. If you sent it to yourself and you don't see it, go and check your spam folder. If you sent it to your teacher, double check to make sure that your teacher received it, but give it a minute or two for your teacher to actually receive it. So click OK. So now you just kind of have to sit and wait. So if you're sending this as a final project, I would strongly recommend you save the product first, so that if for some reason the teacher didn't get the copy, you can then send it again or send it later. The last option, if your teacher requires you to print a copy, downside, if you're working on a Chromebook, you can't print from a Chromebook. So if you save your final, you should be able to access your PDF from any computer and then open up your PDF file on a desktop computer and then come to this. You can just print the PDF, but if you're at this screen, you can go to print final and it'll look for a printer, and that's kind of what it's going to look like when you print it out. But I'm on a Chromebook and I can't print. So if you don't like what you've done and you want to scrap the entire thing, click restart. You'll get a nice little warning. And then you click exit and say, yes, I want to do this again. So now if you have a timeline and you've started one and you want to go and edit it, and you want to do some more work, come to open, find my file, and so now I can go and find, and it'll look for all the various finals that you have, and so I already have a sample one. So if you click open, and again, it's going to look for the RWT files, so it won't open a PDF. It'll open up an RWT file. So wherever you saved it, click whatever location you saved it in, and click open, and there you go. So as you can see on this nice one, I was just kind of filling in space, and so there's 28 events on this timeline right now, and it's really crowded. So this is where your title and your short descriptions are going to really fill up the screen very quickly. You can see your timeline's going to get crowded really quickly. And just to kind of show you the final product, that's what that would look like. And then the description, if you've got 28 items, this is kind of how it's going to look. And I was really thorough in my descriptions on things. This will grow as long or as big as it needs to. So if you notice, this is now out of 3 pages because I still have events on the other ones. The other thing in regards to the items here, you've got to be careful, because if you notice, if you look carefully, they're out of order. So I would strongly suggest you not use numbers, only because of the fact that it could be confusing to read, at least the description part, because it's going to print the description in the order that they appear on the timeline. So 1, 10, 11, 12, 13. So if we go to here, 1, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's pretty much it, and I hope, really hope, that this video walked you through everything that you needed to know. If you have questions, ask your teacher, ask me, hi. And if you have any questions, just let me know. And it's really easy to use, so if you need any help, yeah, I've already said that already. I'm just going to sign off awkwardly. So thanks for watching.